Welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year. We are officially in 2023. Before we get into the forecast for January, I just want to mention, of course, that this is a general forecast. If you would like a personal reading, or if you would like your own personal year ahead forecast, book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Here we go. So a new year, a new energy to work with. We leave the energy of the 6 behind in 2022, and we jump into the very practical and very ethereal landscape of the 7 energy for the universal cycle of 2023. So if you haven't already, again, be sure to listen to your previously posted 2023 year ahead forecast for your specific life path number. Those are up on my YouTube channel and my podcast for your listening pleasure. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to first look at the collective energy for January 2023, which will sort of explore the cycle that we'll all be working with for this month. And then we'll take a look at the month ahead, including the energies for the new and the full moons of January for each life path number. Okay, so January 2023 is an 8 universal cycle. And so what this means is collectively we will be feeling much more focused, much more determined, and more motivated this month. So we're ready to make big strides on some of our greatest visions, and we can feel the excitement growing around creative projects and collaborations that sort of fuel our passions. This energy is saying, let's go. Under this energy, it's important to not see limitations as indicators that something is not achievable or that it isn't for you. We're meant to acknowledge those limitations and then call in the people and the resources that are the experts within those areas to assist, while we focus our own energy on the areas where we are the experts and where we can let our light shine the brightest. 8 energy understands the importance of collaboration and teamwork. It doesn't try to do it all alone, and it certainly understands that it isn't the expert at everything. The goal is to focus on and emphasize our own strengths while also allowing others to contribute in the same way. When we try to be the best at everything and fail to see our own limitations as an opportunity to allow someone else's strengths to shine through, then we restrict ourselves and, in turn, restrict others. So this is a great month to ask for assistance and to accept that assistance without trying to control it, right? So the month of January may start off a little slow, but by mid-month, the energy will be pushing us to get started on whatever it is that we set our sights on. Money and financial affairs could also come up this month, and you could see sort of an influx of resources, perhaps an uptick in clients or sales. Or if you've applied for, a new job or a promotion, you could see that come through at this time. New contracts could be initiated at this time as well. So if you're a freelancer or again, like work with clients, you may see an uptick there. Or for some, unexpected costs could surface at this time to have you to take a closer look at your spending and or your money management. This is a great energy when it comes to career or how you sort of make your money or your resources in the world. So if you're looking for work or if you're looking to change jobs, this is a very supportive energy to help you not only get your foot in the door, but bust through that door and get seen. So again, this is great energy for getting your name out there, putting yourself out there, getting seen, being recognized, getting those promotions, getting more clients, getting more sales, all of those things. This is very ambitious energy that we're working with, right? Or we have the opportunity to work with. Don't be afraid of taking risks this month, especially mid-month and onwards. Don't be afraid to promote yourself. And again, get your name out there, get yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be seen in whatever ways feel aligned for you. Not necessarily what feels comfortable for you, because sometimes we do have to step outside that comfort zone, right? But in ways that feel aligned. So it feels good, even though it might be a little scary, or it might be, again, different from how you're used to doing it. That is the power of the 8. It's going to sort of push us beyond our again, beyond those comfort zones. And that can include, again, like asking for assistance, asking for where you need help, where it is that you have those limitations. There is power in that, and the 8 energy is going to assist us in doing that. The energy of the 8 reminds us that if we don't speak up and ask for what we want, then the answer is always going to be no. So be confident and bold and go for it. This vibration will also ask us to sort of proceed with honesty and integrity. Shady business isn't supported under this vibration, and using others to get ahead now might work initially, but the fall will be greater than the rise. So anything done without integrity, especially under the vibration of the 8, is not sustainable and will eventually crumble. So it's best to build from a foundation of honesty and integrity to begin with. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the month of January for your specific life path number now. Life path number 4. So I pulled an animal spirit message for us for January, and we got manta ray. This is such incredibly angelic, beautiful energy coming through for this month. And I love getting this at the start of this new year, which again is a collective sort of universal cycle of 7, which is very like spiritually connected and ethereal and psychic and all those more like, the unseen. So I love that we're getting manta ray for January. And so what this sort of brings in, if you've ever seen a manta ray, they almost look like an angel floating or swimming or gliding through the water. They're just incredibly magnificent spiritual beings. So what I love about this is I feel like this is a call for 4s who can be a little bit more pragmatic, more practical, more logical, more logically driven, that sort of thing, to really find your center and to connect to your inner sense of self, right? So like your intuition, some spiritual component of a higher consciousness, right? Whatever that means for you. So if you subscribe to like the universe or God or Allah or whatever, or Buddha or whatever, this month could be a call to really find time to reconnect or to connect to to the unseen, to that higher consciousness, right? That we're all a part of, but that it's very easy in sort of the mundane physical world to get disconnected from that, right? Or to have that channel be closed. And what's so beautiful about 4 energy that often gets overlooked is that not only is it a very like hardworking, practical, organized, ambitious energy, it is incredibly intuitive. It is very heart-centered. And a lot of times like 4s, again, we're not seen as being sort of emotionally connected, but the 4th chakra is the heart chakra, right? Like the 4, you can think of like a room, right? With 4 walls. There's an external and an internal, and both are significant and equally important. And so I do think that this month for us is really going to be sort of like temperance energy, where we are meant to not overlook or release or sort of shame the side of ourselves that's more like practical and logical, that sort of thing, the more masculine side of ourselves. but we're also meant to incorporate and find balance with the feminine side of ourselves. And so again, like the stillness, the intuitive side, the psychic connection, the connection to nature and animals and all those things, right? And so I do think with Manta Ray coming through, it's a call for whoever needs that call to get reconnected to the more spiritual side of themselves, the intuitive side of themselves, the inner side of themselves, and to blend and marry that with the more driven, focused, ambitious side of themselves, right? The more logical side. So this is incredibly beautiful energy. There's also this energy with Manta coming through that has to do, again, with like harmony, right? And so I just equate that to that balance, right? Like checking in with yourself. See, this is a checkpoint month to make sure that there's equilibrium there, that there is balance between that drive, that work ethic, and the stillness and the time for self-reflection and connectivity to the unseen. I think that's going to really serve us well to make sure that we are balanced in both sides, right? There's also this energy with Manta coming through for miracles, like getting, I say finally, because it's like for energy, right? Like things always seem to move so much slower for us, but it's like finally seeing some kind of headway, finally seeing something coming to fruition that we've been working so hard for, almost feeling like it's dropping out of the sky, like a gift from the universe. But what's so ironic about that, especially when it comes to for energy, is typically anything that sort of we feel like is just handed to us, we've done a tremendous amount of work towards. So it's usually like, we've put in the effort and now we're seeing the rewards of that effort. And so it's very possible that January could bring some just really big rewards for effort put forth that can feel larger than life and can almost feel like it's just being gifted to us. And maybe it is, but a lot of times with for energy, it's like we've worked really hard for a lot of the stuff that we achieve, right? So beautiful, beautiful energy with that. Okay, so looking at January. So this is incredibly beautiful. We've got not only the energy of the 8 that we are working with collectively, which is incredibly beautiful for fours. 4s, 2s, and 8s are part of the manifesting triad. And so when we work with the energy of the 2 and the energy of the 8, a lot can get accomplished. And so January could really be a month where we are able to make a lot of headway, where we're able to really achieve a lot, get focused, get organized, get really step into our 4 energy in a really strong way. And I think that's probably why we're also getting like this reminder that we need to make sure we're not neglecting the more sort of unseen, ethereal, mystical side of ourselves, because it's got to be a part of this, right? But so that at 8 energy this month, we could see a huge influx with our career, like lots of, again, rewards coming in for that, or money or whatever, right? Like everything I kind of talked about in the intro. But for 4 specifically, we are also working with the energy of the 3 for January. So this is very creative energy. This is also communication. And so how we communicate, how we work with others, how we communicate our needs. And I will say, myself included, 4s a lot of times have a really hard time asking for help, right? Like we are like usually the ones initiating, we're usually the ones like tackling it, like coming up with the solutions, making it happen, all those things. And a lot of times we sort of neglect to recognize our limitations as not weak, as not as weaknesses, but as, oh, this is an opportunity for me to call in somebody who's more of an expert in this area so that we can really build something great, right? Instead of being like, I can do this, I can do it all by myself. And I'm speaking from experience because I am guilty of this even as we speak. It's just sort of that energy of like, I know how to do this, so I'm going to do it so it gets done right. But we sort of limit ourselves in a big way that way because we couldn't possibly know everything that there is to know about everything, right? So the energy of the 3 coming in not only is like this push for creative self-expression and creative freedom and all those things, and to really find what lights us up and create, right? Like move from a space of creation as opposed from a space of obligation, right? Or burden, but from a creative space, but also communication is just really coming in strongly in January. So I do think that we're going to have opportunities to face some obstacles, to face some limitations where we will have a choice. Are we going to try to overcome this limitation alone and do it our way? Or would we kind of look at what the limitation is, recognize that it's something that is a limitation and delegate that, right? Like call in the resources to assist, to help us so that we can achieve something so much greater than what we initially set out to achieve, because we're not doing it alone. So I do think there is an opportunity this month, or potentially a lot of opportunities this month, to collaborate, to, again, communicate, and to maybe even adjust the way that we communicate, right? Like to make sure that we're being, to make sure that the message that we're trying to get across is the message that's getting across. Now, again, we don't have control over how another person receives that message, but we can always try, right? We can always try to make sure that what we're saying is landing the way that we want it to land by asking questions, right? By like clarifying, by confirming that the person heard what we're saying. And some people are just going to choose not to hear what you're saying, and that's fine, move on. But overall, we just want to make sure that not only are people understanding what we're saying, but that we are understanding what other people are communicating. And in order to do that, we need to ask those clarifying questions. We need to actually ask the questions to begin with. Like, what do you need? Right? Like, I'm going to try to come up with a solution, but what do you feel like you need? As opposed to me saying, this is what you need, let me make it happen for you. Right? So very beautiful, communicative, creative energy that we're working with in January. And the people and the experiences that come in January for us, I think is going to be, again, sort of like setting the stage for the next 12 months. So these could be very important, integral parts to the journey. So just pay attention to the opportunity or opportunities that you have to, again, collaborate, work with others, communicate with others, call other people in, delegate, all of those things, so that you can maintain your own equilibrium between the masculine and the feminine energies within yourself. And again, this gives you an opportunity to really network, to really get your name out there, to really share your ideas in a way where everybody's contributing. Everybody's able to put their best foot forward. Let's put it that way, right? And so everybody's able to contribute their own strengths. So this is beautiful energy. I actually really am excited about this coming through for January for us. So, but again, it's what we do with it and how we work with it. Now, we have a full moon that's coming in on the 6th of January. This full moon for us, we're going to be working with the energy of the 9. What I love about this is that it comes back to Manta Ray energy. So again, this is a very spiritual, divine energy. 9 energy is like that energy that like opens the channels from the physical to the ethereal, right? So it's like the seen and the unseen. It creates that sort of bridge, almost like 7 energy. But 9 energy is very, very spiritual energy. So again, this is going to be a call around this full moon to really connect to our emotions, to really connect to, our intuition. This is going to be a very potentially intuitive time when that veil is sort of thinner and the channel is open. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your daydreams. Pay attention to where it is that your mind is wandering to. What does it keep going back to? Is it something that burdens you or something that ignites your spirit? Because this is going to be a month for really all life paths to really do what inspires them, what ignites their spirit, and finding that connectivity not only to the physical manifestation, but to the spiritual realm, right? The higher consciousness, to where the ideas are born. And so around this full moon, really pay attention to, again, like your dreams, to the things that come in for you that feel larger or bigger than you. And what is it trying to show you? So again, this could be an opportunity to really share your gifts in a way that helps humanity in a greater way. And again, that's going to come through potentially communication with other people to see what it is that they need before you create the solution or before you contribute towards that solution. So around this full moon, there could be things coming to completion. 9 energy can also be completion. So there may be some things falling away or being removed so that new things can come in, and that's okay. To that, I would say, let them fall away, let them be released, because that's going to set you free to have the time, the space, the energy to be able to focus your energy on wherever it is, on the new things that are coming through, right? The new adventures. And so it is very possible that there could be some major endings that occur around the 6th. Or again, like some major like realizations that through those realizations, you create the change and you release whatever it is. So you release the mindset, you release the belief systems, you release the person or people, places, things that are no longer serving you or that no longer contribute in a positive way or in a healthy way to your journey. And then we have a new moon on January 21st. And we are going to be working with the energy of the 6. And so potentially there could be some things coming in around the home, around relationships. For people, this is a new moon. So this is like new initiations, new starts. This, for some people, if you're on the market and you're looking, this could be an opportunity to meet a soulmate, to meet a very strong soul connection, somebody who you feel very connected to, who almost feels like you've had experiences with this person in previous lifetimes type thing. This is a soul contract kind of energy. So it's very possible that you may meet somebody along those lines around the 21st. And that would be whether you're already in a relationship or not, because it doesn't have to be romantic, right? It can be meeting sort of those people from your soul group, right? So they come in now and you just feel this strong connection, like you're meant to accomplish something together. You're meant to work together. You just feel like it's a knowing, right? So that's very possible around this new moon. Again, since it's like new beginnings, new initiations. This can also be, I'm kind of drawn back to manta ray, right? Like that whole like very spiritual divine energy. And then we're working with the energy of the 6, which is unconditional love. So again, this can be a very like pivotal point or turning point in relationships for you as well. And so you might get like be able to communicate better with people and it clears things up or again sort of shifts the energy in some big way. You might also notice like changes to the home around this time. So you may sell or decide to sell at this time or to buy or to change locations or whatever the case may be. Or you may have new family members enter, people who need your assistance at this time. That can all kind of come in as well. It's a very nurturing energy. So I would just say, make sure that you're nurturing yourself as well as others at this time and try not to get too overly frustrated. If people seem to need your attention, your time, your sort of shoulder a bit more around this new moon, because that can be possible. And so that it is an opportunity to be more selfless than selfish. Yeah. And I don't know, selfish is just has such a bad or negative connotation, but it's like, we need that selfishness sometimes to be able to achieve some of the things we need to achieve, right? It's totally natural and normal. It stems from the ego. But the energy of the full moon and the new moon, so the energy of the 9 and the 6, are both very much like selfless energy. So we could find that we're being called more into the community, that we're being called more to help others this month. But a lot of that is going to stem from communication, right? And that includes setting healthy boundaries. So if someone needs or constantly is in need of our energy, our resources, our time, and we don't have it to give, we have to be very open and honest about that and set those healthy boundaries as well. So incredibly beautiful energy this month, very creative, very like yeah, it just has this energy of like very spiritual, very like intuitive. But it's up to us to make sure that we're tapped into that and that we stay tapped into that. And if something doesn't feel right, to follow that guidance, to follow that guidepost, right? And to make adjustments as needed, and to make sure that we're finding our balance and our equilibrium as we start this year and as we move through January. Because it is very easy for fours to sort of go all in and like just overwork and like deplete themselves. And so we really have to continuously find our balance, especially this month, because I do think that there's probably going to be a lot of people that need us or need our attention or need help with something, right? So not only are we being called to step up and assist, but we also need to make sure that we're asking for the help that we need when we see or face those limitations, right? So beautiful, beautiful energy. I do hope that we see some things come to fruition this month, especially things that we've been working really hard towards. We have definitely earned it. And so I can't speak for everyone, but if you're a 4, I know you've probably put in the work. So this can be a great month to reap those rewards. So I hope it's a beautiful January for you all 4s. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care. Bye for now.